So this is a brief overview about our COVID research, respiratory virus propagation modeling, and we applied this model uh, to study the SARS-CoV-2. And this is a collaborative research between GSSG, UCD, and TAGAS. So as you all know, the COVID virus is spread through respiratory droplets. So, and if we get infected being close contact to a person, that is how we get the virus. Uh, so, according to the statistic collected, for example, from 3rd November to 16th November, so you can see that in this table, mostly aged people. This table shows some data about the hospitalization based on different age categories. You can see that at in the last column, most of the aged people have been admitted to ICU. It means like aged people are more susceptible to the virus. So to understand this kind of why this such thing happened, so our aim was like to study the COVID virus through computational modeling. So considering the infection, there are three main stages in this infection. Initially, in the early stage, the virus are usually start infecting our mouth and nose. So we may get like early symptoms, and then it gradually spread down toward the lungs, and at the end, maybe when it reaches the lung, we may get the hyperinflammation phase. Phase. So and then basically, this is an overview about our respiratory tract. Mainly, the respiratory tract consists of two main parts: upper respiratory tract and the lower respiratory tract. And there are different components of the respiratory tract. When the virus comes, when we get in virus, it comes through our nasal cavity and deposit on the airway walls. So this is an overview diagram of our uh, airway wall. So we have airway cells and also the mucus layer. So this is the virus, and also we have the ACE2 receptor, antigen converting enzyme 2, which is the receptive enzyme which allows entering SARS-CoV-2 to our respiratory cells. So it comes and bind with the SE2 receptor and then enters into our cell. So once it binds, our immune system recognizes that there's an unrecognized cell. Our immune system start uh, fighting against the virus. So, for example, different stages, different component of our immune response start responding, and this response may vary depending on number of factors, our genetic makeup, age, and different lifestyle. Depending on that, the virus reproduction starts. As a result, some virus may travel toward the lung and some may exit through our mouth or nose. That is how an infected person starts spreading the virus to others. So, so the mainly our aim in this study was developing a mathematical model to characterize the virus propagation along our respiratory. Once it get through our nose or mouth, how it travels along the respiratory tract and how the infection dynamics varies. So, so we basically studied the geometry of to model the virus propagation process. Basically, we considered the tree structure of our respiratory tract, and then in respiratory studies, the respiratory system is divided into 23 generations, starting from trachea to alveolus. So mainly we studied the geometry of the respiratory system and then how virus propagate along all these airway generations, and then how the virus deposit, and then finally the procedure of viral infection and reproduction. So by considering the geometry of our respiratory tract, once the virus gets in through our mouth or nose, it travels through our respiratory airway generations, and some of the virus deposit on the airway walls. once it deposits, as you can see in this figure, while they are traveling along an airway, they deposit on the airway wall, and then start the infection. As a result of that infection, the virus, more virus is being produced, and then they travel up and down the airway system. So therefore, the distribution of virus particle along an airway can vary depending on number of factors. So the main aim of the mathematical modeling process, our main aim was in the mathematical model development process was deriving an expression to represent the distribution of virus particle along an airway. So this is the expression that we derived. So the virus distribution in an airway generation depends on the amount of virus coming from the previous airway generation, CG I-1, and also the diffusion of virus particles, and most importantly, the velocity particle as well as velocity u, and also the the virus deposition rate on an airway generation, and also P is the virus reproduction rate. To find these parameters, we derived mathematical models. So this is the mathematical model for the virus deposition rate and airflow velocity, and also the virus reproduction rate. Then this is the whole mathematical model in short, and then we use this model to explain SARS-CoV-2 viral dynamics. So this figure shows how the virus initially deposits on our airway tract, and then the initiation of the infection. You can see in the first figure, majority of virus deposit on the upper respiratory tract compared to the lower respiratory airway generation. And then the second figure shows the receptor cell density, variability in receptor cell density along the airway tract. That means ACE2 distribution. You can see the receptor cell density is high in the both in the upper and lower respiratory tract. That is why the infection mostly happened in the upper part, as well as the major impact is in the upper part and also the lungs. Once the virus deposits, the initial viral infection starts. So you can see that initially the infected cell as well as the virus concentration increases and reach its peak within 3 to 10 days, and then decreases because our immune system start fighting against the virus. So this is why health experts say if we get in contact with virus, we have to quarantine at least 3 to 7 days. That is the period the viral load become peak. So that during that time you can become a you can be a virus carrier. So then we then we studied how virus spread along the airway tract. You can see in the first this figure. Initially, the virus concentration is very high in the upper respiratory tract, and then it gradually spread down the respiratory tract over time. However, this virus dynamic can vary from person to person depending on different factors. So to get an idea about that, we also studied how different factors could impact the dynamics of virus along the respiratory tract. So for example, the first graph shows the impact of exposure dose and initial immune response. The first graph shows we get in contact with high virus load. As people say, if you are in a closed area, you may get in contact with high virus load. But if we have a very weak immune response, then the person may have high virus load for a long period of time, as you can see the blue line here. So the high virus load stays from 5 to 15. So in this case, we may develop it. It may give a chance to develop all the symptoms and also developing severe conditions. Whereas in the second case, we may get compared to the amount of virus get in contact with, we have very strong immune system. Although initially the virus concentration increases, it suddenly decreases in a short period of time. So due to the high activity of strong due to strong immune response. So this is the case. Some people get in contact with the virus, but they don't even know. Sometimes they may not even get any symptoms. So you can see that there is therefore initial immune response can effectively control the progression of virus. So considering the immune response, immune response consists of number of components such as interference, T cell, natural killer cells, and T cells. However, in this study, we considered only the immune response by T cell due to lack of data. Then we studied whether only the immune response by T cell is the only factor which uh, impact the dynamic of virus. For example, this graph shows how the immune response by T cell impact on the virus overall virus load along the respiratory tract with in severe and mild condition with respect to different T cell generation rates that which is represented by R. You can see, however, in these two graphs, in severe and mild condition with respect to T cell level, we can't really see any significant change. So that means T cell is not the only factor which impact on the viral dynamics. So that is because the immune response can vary depending on number of factors. So to give you an idea about that, the third graph shows how age, gender, and different life habit impact on the viral dynamics. The first graph shows that in the first graph, the model predicts that age people can have high virus load compared to young people, and the model validates the already given like experimental outcome that has already given by health expert. And the second graph shows male are more susceptible to the virus compared to female. And in the third graph, smoking and alcohol have a negative impact on our immune response. As a result, the SARS-CoV in the if that a person who smoke or consume alcohol get in contact with the virus, he may have a high chance of he may have high virus load in the respiratory tract. So apart from the immune response exposure dose, ACE2 expression also has a huge impact on the viral dynamics. For example, the fourth graph shows how the ACE expression impact on the with respect to age and smoking. So adult people have high ACE2 expression. Therefore, the virus load in adults' respiratory tract is higher than the child respiratory tract. So adult people are more susceptible. This explains why adult people get the virus more than child. And the second graph shows, in the second graph, smoking people, ACE expression is high among smoking people compared to non-smoking. Therefore, as a result, smoking people have a high chance of getting infected with the virus. So similarly, by using this model, we can explain the virus dynamic with respect to different parameters to expand our knowledge how viral dynamics would change depending on similar parameters. Therefore, this model can be used for a number of purposes. For example, expanding our knowledge about SARS-CoV-2 and also developing also treating infected people effectively. So therefore, this model has number of advantages as well as disadvantages, challenges. Considering advantages, this model is not limited for SARS-CoV-2 respiratory infections, but this can also be used any other respiratory infection given some information about the virus. So we can be well prepared for the next pandemic. maybe another virus that affect our respiratory system. So and also, since this model can be used to explain SARS-CoV-2 dynamics with respect to different personal parameters, so we can easily use this model to develop more therapeutic or personalized treatment. For example, how to treat for diabetics compared to high blood pressure people or heart disease people. And also, and most importantly, this model is not limited for respiratory infection, but also can be used for other infection that may affect different organs. So given some information about that organ, for example, digestive system, we can easily explain the viral dynamics. So considering the challenges, the main challenge is we have very limited data. For example, still the impact of full immune response is not documented. So we face some challenges during the study, how to consider the immune response. So that is why we considered the T cell response. But given some more data about the immune response, we can improve the expand the knowledge that we can extract it from this model. So that's all about the research, our COVID research. And I would like to thank Sasi and Donna for their valuable comments and guidance during this research. So thanks for Francis, Vista Medical Manager, who gave us an opportunity to do this collaborative research. Yeah. So thank you for your attention, and also thank you for giving a chance to present our research in this research forum.